Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Shots on Target podcast. My name is Phil, joined by my man Jakey as always.
What's going on, guys?
So, as you guys have seen, Jurgen Klopp has decided to leave Liverpool, and today will be a Jurgen Klopp special. So, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Let's get straight into it.
And yes, as said in the intro, it was announced that Jurgen Klopp will leave Liverpool at the end of the season, the end of his 9th year in charge of the club. And as a Liverpool fan, I am fucking devastated. um, Look, this man has done absolute wonders with the club. He came into a broken club with a broken fan base, and in 9 years, won the lot. I don't think there's many managers out there that could have done what he has done in that time.
Yeah.
The biggest
Yeah,
thing, the biggest task he had to do was reuniting that fan base, bring a bit of joy back into post Rodgers, essentially, was what it was. And he did that and more.
Yeah, I agree.
I think I don't think there's many, like I said, many managers that could have done what he did.
Well, it brings me on to my first question. Me and my mate was talking about this the other day. Where would you put Jurgen Klopp in the list of all-time Premier League managers? I know
All-time
where
Premier
I'd put
League,
him. Yeah, all-time Premier League managers. Where would you stick Jurgen Klopp?
4th.
Fourth. So
Yeah.
your list would be
Fergie, Pep, Wenger, Klopp. And then probably Mourinho 5th.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everyone would. That's their top five, depending on what order you would probably see it. But yeah, I completely agree. I don't think there's much conversation about that in terms of managers. Klopp is
I think
up there as one of the greatest now.
Klopp and Wenger are interchangeable. It really depends. Probably more allegiances and who you enjoyed watching, because obviously they both had different styles and they both won relatively the same. Obviously, Wenger had a bit more success in England. He won like multiple FA Cups, multiple league titles. Obviously, the Invincibles is another one. But Klopp was prolific on every stage. 2 Champions League finals, a Europa League final, multiple FA Cup and Carabao Cup finals, and the league, a Super Cup.
There's different eras as well. So obviously, in terms of say Wenger, Guardiola, you've got Guardiola that got handed a treasure chest full of money, but still he still had to get the best out of these players. Do you know what I mean? So there's no debating. Just because he had the money doesn't bring you success. Look at Newcastle.
Look at Chelsea.
Look at Chelsea. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't bring you success. You still need a manager to get the best out of these players. But in terms of Wenger, I'd have it Ferguson, Wenger, Guardiola, then Klopp. Just simply because I'd have Wenger over Guardiola, just simply because of 2 reasons. One, Wenger did it, and I think in a tougher era of football, personally, I think, and secondly, the Invincible season. I think that's something that will never be done again, personally. I don't think any team will ever go unbeaten in the Premier League again, especially nowadays.
I think the argument against that is Arsenal did play for a lot of draws because they knew the record was on. They were more concerned about seeing games out, whereas I think the likes of City and Liverpool now, they just want to win, and they're willing to risk losing to win.
But then, for example, you've got Mourinho up there, and Mourinho was the draw king at Chelsea. He would happily not concede a goal and draw 0-0 to win the title. Do you know what I mean? In his tenure at Chelsea, he was like the god at it. Do you know what I mean? He is the one that no one wanted to come up against. The way he set up his teams, he'd have some of the best attacking players in the world, and he'd still get them to play defensively and play on the counter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's why he holds the record for the lowest goals conceded in the season at 15.
Yeah,
that'll never get beaten either, I don't think.
No, there's some crazy records out there. But going back to Klopp anyway, because that's why we're here. An absolutely fantastic manager, what he's done for the club. I mean, everyone knows now and seen the picture of his first starting 11 at Liverpool. Just to read off the starting 11 here, you got Mignolet in goal, Moreno left back, Saka and Skirtle as centre back, and Nathaniel Klein at right back. DMs of Emre Can and Lucas. Then you had a left wing Milner, attacking mid Coutinho, right wing Lallana, and Divock Origi up top. He walked into, I think Liverpool fans can safely say, a shit show. Like,
We were a mid-table club.
oh,
100%.
100%. I think he was sitting around 7th, 8th, maybe 9th when he took over, something like that.
I think
And
so, yeah.
personally, probably not looking like breaking into that top four anytime soon. And it took a while, like everything. It takes a while, especially when you've got a job like that. You have to secure the funding, find the right players, find the right system he wants to play. He made some unbelievable decisions in his transfer business. I think in terms of transfer business, he's probably one of the best for doing it. In terms of like Mo Salah, who had a torrid time at Chelsea and they let him go, started to pick it back up at Roma. Klopp saw something in him and brought him along, and the rest is history of Mo Salah, one of the greatest in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you've got Sadio Mane, who hit the ground running. Roberto Firmino was absolutely unbelievable.
He actually wasn't a Klopp signing.
Firmino?
Nope. He was
he not?
He was a Brendan Rodgers signing.
Oh,
But Brendan
okay.
Rodgers didn't want him. He wanted Benteke instead.
Interesting decisions there.
Yeah.
But that's what it comes down to. That's the difference between a good manager and a great manager. It's the decisions you make and getting the best out of these players. And not only that, but I think the way Klopp, you can see it, his energy. You can see like why he's decided to call it a day, because he's run out of energy. This guy puts everything into his management style and what he's done at Liverpool. You see him on the touchline and running down the touchline when Liverpool score a goal and jumping up and down, screaming at officials. It's because he cares. He's not a horrible person. He might do some stupid things and say some stupid things, but every manager probably will. It's because of the passion that he has, and the passion for Liverpool Football Club is, you can see it's undeniable.
Yeah. 100%.
100%. And but then you go to not only the transfer business, but another example is Andy Robertson from Hull for £8 million. Incredible. But then you look at the youth he brings forward. The biggest one, Trent Alexander-Arnold. No one had heard of Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he comes into the first team, and I don't think he's left the first team since.
Nope. He came
since
into
that first game. Like,
that first game against Spurs at 18-year-old or 17-year-old. It was one of the two. And he has been a staple of this Liverpool team.
yeah,
And
that's
it's been
his spot since.
Yeah, like you said, it's been his spot, and I don't think you could have signed a player of his quality. I don't think there are many players out there that quality that are readily available to buy. So he entrusted a very young fullback who has since become one of the most important Liverpool's during his tenure at the club.
Probably one of the best right backs in the world. Definitely in that conversation.
Oh, 100%.
Definitely in the conversation for sure. But it's just unbelievable. You could literally do a 2-hour documentary on Klopp and you would be glued to it, just because of how everything he's done, and not only what he's done on the pitch, off the pitch as well. You can tell he has a grip with the fans. The fans just love him. And it actually made me laugh. Me and my mate were laughing about it. The way they were literally talking about it on Sky Sports was like he died.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Like it literally, every time they were talking about Jurgen Klopp, it literally sounded like they were about to do a memorial for him. Like, it's crazy, honestly. It does make you laugh.
That just shows the love that the fans have for him, though, and how important he's been to this Liverpool team. You know, I don't think the fan, especially me personally, I don't think I'll have another connection to a manager like I have with Klopp. I don't think many Liverpool fans will have the connection to Klopp. Like, you know, he's our Shankly, he's our Paisley, he's our Dalglish.
Yeah,
the fans absolutely adore this man, and he's gonna be a massive loss, not just to us, to the Premier League as well. I've seen plenty of tweets, you know, TikTok comments, YouTube comments that have said, like, rival fans are sad that he's going because he just brings that energy, he brings that passion. You know, he's a manager that you should hate because he's a rival, but you just can't help but like him.
Yeah, even Guardiola came out and said he's going to miss, because it's obviously been Klopp versus Guardiola for years now. The Liverpool-Man City battle has reigned on, and it's going to come to a forefront this season. Do you know what I mean? And it will be the last time we see it. it's upsetting. It really is, because football. I like personally. It's, don't get me wrong. Scouse fans annoy me to fuck. Some of them really need to rein in what they say sometimes. There is more to life than Liverpool Football Club. But when it comes to the rivalry between Liverpool and Man City, it is undeniable. This is up there with like the Man United and Arsenal of days, do you know what I mean? Or the Celtic Rangers, stuff like that. It's not as obviously gritty, but there's so much on the line, and it's always the case. And Guardiola will miss having Klopp as his adversary, and it might. I said to my mate, this might even spark Guardiola's departure now, because it's obviously been rumored for a year now that Guardiola is coming to the end of his tenure at City, and Guardiola is one of those managers that likes to try something different. He doesn't like to stay stale. So maybe we might see a Guardiola exit at the end of the year as well. Who knows?
It would be, it'd be a massive thing for the Premier League to lose both of them in one season.
Oh, 100%.
That's as much as people will say, "Oh, some sort of rivalry when City have won I think it's 5 out of 6," but no one's taken City as close as we did.
No, 100%.
You've seen the years where we haven't competed. City have walked the league essentially. They end up 5, 6, 7, 8 points, and even when they finished Centurions, I think they were like 16 points ahead of second, and it was the years where we've challenged, it's been a point every year.
Yeah, there's one thing that you can always say about a Guardiola team is they can, if you're not pushing them, they don't have to obviously try as hard, so they won't look as good. But if you push them, they will hit some levels that literally are ridiculous. You look at last season, Arsenal looked clear favourites completely, nearly 12 points clear, and City were like, no, and then just hit a purple patch of 12 wins in a row, took the title from them.
They did the exact same to us a few years before. I think we were top of the league at Christmas, and City were, I think, 10 points behind, and then they went and won 14 games on the bounce and won the league. And I'm just like, there's no other team in the world, in the league or the world, I don't think they could do that.
I don't think the world, no, not the world, 100%. People might say maybe Real Madrid, but I don't even see it either. Real Madrid either.
No,
but
I think that they've been the two biggest powerhouses in Premier League football over 100%. The last decade.
But that brings me on to our next question. Obviously, the decision has been made. Klopp will not go back on it. I did see people asking Klopp in his interview the other day. Ferguson apparently said he was leaving, and then 3 months down the line said, "No, I'm not now." Don't think that's going to be the case here.
No,
so the biggest question is, what happens next with Liverpool? I've seen a lot of stuff already. Apparently Van Dijk got asked the question, will he be part of the new Liverpool setup? And he said, I don't know. That's got people talking.
I can put a bit on that. That was bullshit. He said that while he was laughing, and the reporter was also laughing.
It might be, but it's still, as well as I do, once the words are out there, doesn't matter how you say it, how you perceive it, once the words are out there, it's going to be spoken about.
I think,
and that's what we're here to do. So
I'm not as much worried about Van Dijk saying he's going to leave or that he doesn't know, because obviously these players will want assurances. They want to know that the club will be going in the right direction. It's the sort of thing is, if we get Alonso, Nagelsmann, or Zidane, Van Dijk stays for another 4 or 5 years. If we get Hodgson or someone of that sort of calibre, he'll go.
But the question is as well, who the hell could fucking afford Van Dijk? Like, what
Saudi.
What price would you put on Van Dijk though? I don't think he'd go Saudi. I think he'd want to stay in Europe. Everyone's moaning about Saudi. He's not going to Saudi. People want to leave Saudi now.
I've seen a lot of people saying that they want to leave Saudi, but I guess he could end up at a Madrid. He could end up at a PSG. They're the type of clubs that can probably afford his wages, because it would be, he would leave on a free. He's coming into the last couple, like a year or two of his contract. But
yeah, true.
I think the next steps for Liverpool is you want to find. You don't want to make the mistake United did appointing Moyes. As much as Ferguson recommended him, Ferguson's not a scout. I think the club need to, Jurgen Klopp has left us in a very, very good place. He's kind of set the club up to succeed for the next 2, 3, 4 years, and sadly he won't be here to see what he could have built with this Liverpool 2.0. But the club is in very
Yeah,
good hands, and it's just we need to make sure the owners make the right decisions.
but the question is, because like there have been times where, although it might be another perfect manager coming and stepping into the breach, like for example, say Xabi Alonso does get the job, but there are some people that just don't want to play for another manager at that club. Like, say for example, Trent. He could come out and say, I want to leave now because Klopp's not here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Don't say it's going to happen, but it's a possibility. Do you know what I mean? Mo Salah, for example, how much longer does he really have at his top of his game? Is it time to cash in on Mo Salah before he gets too old and his price just drops and drops and drops? Would you rather have an aging Salah in the team? Obviously, still always quality, don't get me wrong, he'll still probably get you 15, 20 goals a season. But is it time? Because there's always a time where it has to come to an end, for example.
yeah,
But then you've got the new branch with like Darwin Núñez, Gakpo. You've seen a lot of the kids being used at Liverpool these days. Connor Bradley, um, and players like that. Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, just to name a few. So there's definitely, like you say, Klopp's definitely left it in beautiful hands for the next manager to walk in. I think there'll be a lot of managers that will be itching to get that job.
I think some of the names I've seen. I think Zidane has gone back on his word of saying he wouldn't manage in England. He said I think he's come out and said in France that he's interested in the job. I know De Zerbi's a manager that's being looked at. Obviously, the big favourite at the minute amongst the fans and at the club would be Alonso.
Alonso. Yeah, 100%.
Obviously, he's got a link with the fans from his time here when he played. He's come out and said, he said in prior interviews when he was at Sociedad as the under-21s manager, that this is the club he feels most at home at. So could there be a world where, he steps away from Leverkusen at the end of the season and comes in? I think it's under agreement that no one wants Gerrard as much as, he is a Liverpool legend.
He's not a good manager.
He's not a good manager, no. It pains me to say it because obviously I love Gerrard, but he just isn't a good manager.
Me and my mate were having this conversation again the other day. We have a lot of football conversations, as you can tell, guys.
Yeah.
But we were saying about like ex-footballers and stuff, and even ex-football legends. Just because they're a club legend does not mean that they'll be a good manager. It doesn't mean Xabi Alonso might be a good manager. He might just suit the way the players he has at Leverkusen. It could be completely different for Xabi Alonso. He might completely refresh it and come into training and go, you're not, you don't play the way I want you to. You're not playing the way I want you to. I'm going to go out and get this, this, and this. Look at Ten Hag goes into Man United and just wants to sign Ajax players.
Yeah.
Doesn't work out. Do you know what I mean? There's so many little decisions that are going to be made right in the next 6 months at Liverpool that, for me, if 2 or 3 go the wrong way, can make or break this club. Although it's in such a good place right now, we've seen it before with your Arsenals and Manchester Uniteds. What goes up must come down. Nothing stays at the top forever, unfortunately. And that's just the way it goes in football these days. You look at Chelsea nowadays, they was right at the top with Abramovich and all the money, etc. And now they're just slumping down the table. Yeah, they're climbing a little bit back up now, but decisions, they are the biggest thing, and you need a person in charge that are going to make the right decisions, not just for the club but for the fans as well. Listening to what the fans want is such a big thing, because once the fans get on your back, you pretty much might as well call curtains.
Yeah, I think with the fans as well, I think getting Alonso would be a big thing, because even if, for a few years, say we slumped down to third or fourth, but we were consistently in the Champions League, I think the fans could accept that and would give Alonso time, which is the biggest thing for a manager, is time. And in a sport where usually it's not really granted, you look at United, who have gone through more managers than most, Chelsea have gone through more managers than most. I think if the club see a link with the manager, like obviously Jurgen Klopp's first years at Liverpool weren't rosy. It was 6 finals before we got our first trophy under him.
Yeah.
So I think, if you give the manager time and you can see the right sort of steps being implemented, then that's massive. And I think Alonso would be afforded that time. Whereas I think another manager that doesn't really have a link with the fans would feel probably more pressure and be under more pressure to succeed.
Yeah, definitely makes sense.
It's like if a De
Definitely makes
Zerbi
sense.
came in and say he went on a run of losing 4 out of 6 or something like that, the fans would be on his back. Whereas if Alonso did it, you think, right, we'll give him time because we can. Obviously, we've got that link with him, and we can see the right sort of things. It's sort of like you look at it with rose tinted glasses when it's an ex-player.
Yeah, definitely.
But
I definitely agree with that.
but I definitely think Alonso would probably be afforded more time than other managers because of that link with the club and the love he has for the club and the love the fans and the club have with him.
Yeah, absolutely. But what do you guys think? That's the biggest question. Let us know in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think this is the end of Liverpool? Do you think it's just the beginning? Who would you have as manager? Liverpool fans will want to hear it. Most of you will probably say Xabi Alonso. But say you couldn't get Alonso, who would be your second pick? Would it be Zidane? Would it be Pochettino, for example? Just to throw a name out there. But let us know in the comments below.
Yep.
But I think that's pretty much about gonna do it, guys. I don't think there's much more to say on it. It's obviously sad that Jurgen Klopp is going to be leaving Liverpool and the Premier League. He will be missed. He's not dead, just in case anyone was interested. And yeah, that is going to do it, guys. And that's going to do it, guys, for this week's episode of the Shots on Target podcast. Remember, if you did enjoy it, to like, comment, and subscribe down below. It really helps out the channel, and we appreciate all the support. And we'll see you next time, guys.
See you later, guys.